Today we got an opportunity to listen to many enlightened speakers and we learned a lot from them. But yes, our quench for gaining more knowledge is still left. We are having many questions in our mind. So to have an appropriate answers, let's ask from the masters directly. It is time for panel discussion where the masters will discuss on the topic that human beings are most intelligent and least happiest species on the planet. In the panelists we have Ms. Amy Blissio, Mahamandleshwar Pandit Yoga Charini Swami Gayatri Devi from Italy. She is a patron of the Women International Network Award for Peace and Non-Violence, member of the World Peace Development and Research Foundation Yoga, and UPF Ambassador for Peace recognized by UN. Our next panelist is Mr. Bulafa Momin Abdullah from Spain. He is a yoga practitioner, Vice President of World Movement for Yoga, Executive Chancellor Representative, European Yoga Federation, organizer of the First World Yoga Congress 2019, sponsored by the Embassy of India. We also have with us Ms. Valentina Courtney from South Africa. She is a conscious shaper, transformational therapist, pranic energy healer practitioner, dream analyst, crystal healer, life coach, and an intuitive tarot reader. Our next panelist is Mr. Jadranko Meklik from Croatia. He is the Yogacharya and Ayurveda therapist, teacher of transcendental meditation and Maharishi's Vedic science. He is associated with European Yoga Federation and World Movement for Yoga and Ayurveda. The panel discussion will be moderated by Dr. Vikram Singh Tomar, Founding Director, Project Self USA and Bharat, and convener of United Consciousness. So let's welcome all our dignitaries.
Namaste, everybody.
Namaste.
And what a wonderful topic we are going to discuss today. We acknowledge presence of Ami ji from Italy. We acknowledge presence of Emilia ji from Italy. We acknowledge presence of Valentina ji from South Africa. We acknowledge presence of Jadranko ji from Croatia. And we acknowledge presence of Mimoun ji from Spain. Namaste, everybody.
Namaste.
Namaste. So, a beautiful topic we have discussed today. Human beings are the most intelligent species on the planet. And human beings are the most unhappy species on the planet. And these two things together makes it very interesting combination. So I will start with Valentina ji. Where have we lost it? We were kids. We were so happy. We used to laugh. We used to run. We were so happy. Where have we lost it?
Are you ready for it? Are you ready to hear it? So,
carry on.
it's fun enough because when we stop having fun is when we lost it. So you see, when we stop being children, so when we stop connecting with children around us, when we stop connecting with nature, the fun side of our spirit. So that's truly the moment we have totally lost it. So you see, we started to think life. We have given very strong stability to match gravity into our existence. So it feels like we don't exist for anything else if not with you. So this is truly where we have lost happiness from our society. So it's funny because my little niece, my youngest daughter, she keeps telling me when she sees me a bit worried or all rusty, she says, "No, it is never that serious." Right? So, so her words, they basically bring me back to my senses. So I understand that at this moment it's time to slow down, to reset, and truly allow myself to dance in the rain without caring who is watching, or eating that cake without, caring about the size of my head, or, sing that song even if I'm totally off. The time to reconnect with my inner child, remembering that there is still a young Valentina inside who really wants to come out and really enjoy life, and it's never that serious.
Thank you. Thank you, Valentina. She rightly said that when we lose the connect and when we stop having fun and keeping it as our priority, probably somewhere we miss it. Amiji, your quick reflections on this. Where did we lose this?
Non ho mai pensato che si potesse perdere la felicità.
I
Quando-
never,
Prego.
I never thought that we could lose happiness.
Quando ero bambina sapevo scovare il modo di essere felice nelle piccole cose, nel profumo di un fiore, nell'affetto di un cagnolino, nel sole che mi scaldava la pelle, o nel granellino di sale che rubavo dalla cucina di mia nonna.
When I was a child, I knew how to find happiness in little small things, in the scent of a flower, or the affection of a dog, in the sun that warms my skin, or in the grain of salt that I stole from my grandma's kitchen.
E poi nell'incanto dei libri polverosi che leggevo nella soffitta di mio padre.
And then in the announcement of the dusty books that I used to read in the attic, in my father's attic.
E il mondo che trovai dietro la mia mente. Non ho mai pensato che si potesse perdere la felicità.
And then in the word that I found behind my mind, I never thought that happiness could have been lost.
La felicità è uno stato che possiamo creare e assaporare da noi stessi.
Happiness is a state that we can create and enjoy from ourselves.
Perfect. So Amiji said that when we were small, we used to be so happy in small things. And because we were so happy in very small things. So probably those micro moments of joy are the essence of happiness. So beautifully added. Mimunji would also request you to go back to your childhood and tell us, where have we as a society lost the happiness in transit? We used to be so happy when we were kids.
Yeah, normally when we are child, we are not conscious about what's going on. So our life is just in that moment. We have no back, no front, okay? But attending to the past, the man is the most intelligent. I think there is something wrong. The prince is okay, but intelligent is not wisdom. It's not sage. Intelligent has a moment. This moment, other moment, other moment. When we act that way, happiness is in a moment. So I think the phrase is okay because when you are intelligent, happiness is not there. It's that moment is happy, but in a moment later, we are not happy. We are not happy. You know. From me, I started martial arts long time ago when I was young, and I was learning from all those time to have my mind void, empty. So everything come, everything go into the same thing. I don't have duality. Happiness never is there in the duality. So I had chance when I was young because in my family, they pushed me to study, then pushed me to this or that. I was free. In that freedom, I continue all my life. So happiness is the last aim of the man, of the whole human being.
Thank you. Thank you, Mimunji. Mimunji raised a very important point. He said that when we were kids, we used to live in the moment. We never used to dangle in past and future always. We used to live in the moment, and that really brought the happiness. He also mentioned that, and then he was saying that this moment we are happy, another moment we are not when we grow up. There was a research conducted in some Western countries. A monkey was given a peanut. When peanut was given to him, the dopamine was increasing. But the moment he ate the peanut, it started falling down, the happiness hormone. So till you get an object, you feel happy, and the moment you consume it, you feel sad. A quick reflection from Jadranko ji also. The same question. We were so happy, where have we lost it?
Yes. we lost happiness when we start searching for happiness. Because our true nature of our true existence is Sachit Ananda. It is Ananda. And to be happy, we just need to be. We don't need to do anything. This is our birthright to be happy. And just the yoga is teaching us how to be. Yoga Chitta Vritti Nirodha, it means just come to that state of pure existence. You don't need to do anything. And then this is that moment with what Mimunji speak about, and this is Satori in the martial arts. To experience that moment of the presence, then that being is there, the pure existence, you are connected with that field. And you are automatically happy. And you realize you are the ocean of happiness. And then in the life, you live the waves of the happiness. Any action is bringing you the new wave of happiness. But being connected with that being, with our source, with the Sachit Ananda, is some very realistic way to have to live happiness. And then whatever comes, the sorrow or something is there, it will turn into compassion. If you have that inner happiness, which is not caused by anything outside, it is by your nature. You are just that expression of that happiness. And then whatever is sadness, and it turns into compassion, into these different qualities. And all life gets another kind of very happy condition.
So Jadrenko ji also added a beautiful thing. I loved it. The way he said, actually, we are happiness, what we are searching for. As Swami Chinmayanan used to say, Swamiji from USA used to say, that when we search for happiness, as if a mud pot going to Himalayas for the penance to realize mud. We are made of that happiness only. What we are searching for. And Jadrenko ji also said that it is important to appreciate our being rather than only striving for becoming. When we were kids, we used to be so happy in our being. So that is also we missed in between. One important point Mimunji raised, happiness is, or intelligence is not wisdom. So my another question is, does happiness and intellect, they go against each other? Or can intelligence help us to be happy? So this question is to Mimunji because you raised it, and then we'll come.
Yeah, so we are all maybe in the same point than before, because there are many different ways of happiness, many different type of intelligence. So whatever your intelligence is, your happiness or your happiness is there. So if we reach, as I said before, to be sage, it's not too much difference. The intelligence, they see only one point of view, while the sage people, they compute many other things. And for those two also, I must remember here that we come from ancestor. So I go also to the genome, the genetic code. Those genetic code, they give us all the inheritance, all the characteristics and all the properties of the human being. If we don't see that, we never will be happy, because our hard disk is not our disk. We have some application right and some bad application, but the hard disk is not ours. We must find the reality of this reality. And once we have this, if we don't check that point, the happiness is very, very difficult.
Perfect. So Mimunji said that our intelligence, at times intelligent people see only one point of view, otherwise they should have the holistic point of view. Then only you can see the bigger picture, and we are not alone on this planet. Our genetic code has also been programmed, and our ancestors are also there in us. which help us in connecting with this cosmos. So I would come to Valentina with this question that, Valentina, there are many people who receive many traumatic experiences in life. And for them, it becomes very difficult to be happy in life. You are a healer. There are many people from different parts of the world are listening to you right now. The person who have gone through traumatic experience in life, how do you suggest them to search for happiness or to be happy?
I'm actually really glad that you asked me this question, because in the course of the morning, as soon as I've sent the link to this event to a lot of people, I had one of the people I interact with that sent me a WhatsApp message that would like to read, because perhaps it actually represents the view of many others. So the person say, generally talking about happiness doesn't help a woman who has been gang raped, or a black man who is stuck in gang warfare, or stop brown people being bombed by white people on a daily basis. So that's what the person wrote to me. And of course, this person is highly traumatized, and it shows from the powerful choices of the words that have been used. So thank you for allowing me to address this. And I would like to say that trauma is part of our lives. It starts in the womb for some of us, and some of us through their childhood, teenage, young adults, and even in old age. None of it is right. Every bit of trauma is caused by another highly traumatized person, traumatized perhaps by the society we live in, someone who never had the will to seek for help. But now we need to be aware that we create that trauma over and over again in every now moment. In the moment that we think about that experience, we basically recreate it in our daily moments. So if that is violence, it's rape, assault, beating, any abhorrent, inhuman act that humanity is still perpetrating at the expenses of others. So any of these experiences that has made us feel vulnerable, abandoned, hurt, ashamed, alone, any of such experience has created the trauma. And this trauma is deep, it's painful, it's suffocating, it's traumatic. But at this moment is where I can tell everybody who's been experiencing trauma in their life, I can tell you for certain that there is a space within you, a space within all the suffering. And I promise you that that space is there where you can find a realization. And that realization is that only you can change that experience if you are ready to just face that past just one more time. And that is the window for recovery that I ask everybody who has been victim of trauma to find. When your journey starts. And it can only happen now, as in every now moment, we have that choice, the choice to be in the traumatic experience or consciously choose to overcome that experience. So, of course, some people may choose one versus the other based on their willingness to put in that monumental amount of emotional work that is actually necessary to face that trauma. And it's a lot of work that a person I trust you cannot do alone, or choose to remain in that dark pit of victimhood and hopelessness. But it's always an individual choice that nobody should judge, not even ourselves. So whatever we choose to do, that will determine our future. Every emotion, every action that we create in the now, and it's felt, can be changed. So I want to reassure in this moment, and thank you again for giving me this opportunity to give this message. I want to reassure that we don't have to lock ourselves into re-experiencing the violence, the desperation, or the fear, the shame, the guilt forever. I would like to encourage people to trust again, trust in our own abilities to live a better life, because there is always someone out there who is deeply caring about you, someone who is available to listen to us, to help us through this grieving process, help us to assist releasing the experiences, and also to be done in a safe environment.
So,
and this, yes.
Yes.
Sorry, I'm really carried away by this.
No, I understand. I do understand, and I respect that, because it's an important point, as Valentina raised this, that some people, because they have traumatic experience, then they repeat the trauma again and again. And when you repeat the same trauma again and again, the wounds gets deeper. So you need to revisit it, but with a different awareness. Repetition and revisiting are two different things. Without awareness, if you repeat it, it can increase the trauma. I will ask Amiji about it. Amiji, at times people know that this experience, this memory is traumatic, but still they can't help thinking about it. They again and again think about it. So this human mind, as Lord Krishna said, is the best friend and the worst enemy. How to program this mind for right and for happiness, rather than thinking again and again on those things which are not good. How to program our mind for happiness.
Can you translate, Amelia?
Yes, I'm here.
Non voglio sbagliare perché...
Ok. Sì, ti ha chiesto, visto quello che ci siamo detti fino adesso, così come Lord Krishna ci ha detto, no? Come può un uomo superare questo momento, visto che la mente può essere il nostro migliore amico e il nostro peggior nemico?
Sì, è un ostacolo la mente tante volte. L'intelletto, diciamo, è un ostacolo a riuscire addirittura a capire, a comprendere le cose. Strano, è sempre un controsenso, ma sembra che sia molto difficile comprendere se mettiamo di mezzo l'intelletto. Però c'è una cosa, che la felicità e l'intelletto, uno non esclude l'altro. Può essere un servo della felicità l'intelletto.
Okay. So it is like dual and separate and quite one against each other. Intellect can be your very best friend or your very worst enemy.
È un ostacolo proprio, è un ostacolo.
Can be an obstacle towards happiness, but as a matter of fact,
possiamo renderlo servo proprio della felicità, la mente.
We can make it as to serve us, so that the mind can become our servant towards happiness.
Può essere uno stimolo.
Can be a stimulus part.
Per conquistare, diciamo, la felicità.
In order to conquer happiness.
Diciamo, la mente è un mezzo che possiamo utilizzare per arrivare a uno stato di beatitudine, di Ananda, come diceva Jadanko.
The mind is a mean that we can use in order to achieve Ananda, just as Yadranko said just before.
Quindi penso che non dobbiamo vedere un contrasto, dobbiamo andare sempre, i contrasti non vanno mai bene, perché il contrasto è lotta e non è positiva.
Okay, we shouldn't see them as a contrary, as in contrast, because whatever is in contrast means they are fighting one against the other, and they make.
Invece l'accettazione e la comprensione è quella che ti porta poi alla felicità.
Acceptance and comprehension are whatever leads you to happiness.
Perfect. So Amiji has added that intellect and happiness are not against each other. We should utilize our intellect to realize our true nature. She also mentioned about that intellect can be the best friend and the foe also, depending on how we use it. So Jadrankoji, you mentioned about Satchit Ananda. How can I utilize my intelligence to realize Satchit Ananda? As Amiji said, they are friends. So how to utilize that intellect to achieve Satchit Ananda?
Yes, and we can see in the teaching of Lord Krishna in Bhagavad Gita that Arjuna was example of that kind of dispute between the intelligence and the feelings. Even he had a highly developed intelligence. He was very intelligent, very knowledgeable person, and had a very developed feelings level also, but there was no coordination. And then he tried to solve the problem on the battlefield. And then Lord Krishna allowed him to speak. He was not interrupting him. He allowed him to search for the solution, what to do. And finally, he found on this relative field, considering everything, all possible things, he couldn't find solution. And then he fall down. And then he surrendered and asked, Lord Krishna, please guide me. Then he gave him instruction, Nistray Gunyo Bhavarjuna, go beyond the three gunas, go to the Satchit Ananda, go to the absolute, because there is the yoga, there is the harmony between intelligence and feelings, and the Ananda and Chit are together there, from where all the levels of different understanding levels and intelligence is coming out, and all the levels of the happiness is spreading. So then, after that experience, then he was explaining him about the nature of that, and but the first was the experience, go beyond. The same as Maharishi Patanjali speaks, Yoga Chitta Vritti Nirodha, go beyond the vrittis, come to that state of being, and this is the main goal and the practice of yoga, to bring us that, give us that experience. And then understanding of that experience, then this is increasing the level, that intelligence or knowledge is increasing the level of happiness. Because if you find some beautiful stone, precious stone on the ground, and then it looks beautiful to you and you are happy, but if somebody explains you the value of that stone and have a proper knowledge, then the happiness will be much more about the same thing. So that's why experience and the knowledge is important. That's why these two things are there in our life. Understand?
Perfect.
And
so, yes, Jadranko-ji said very interestingly, he took a simile of Krishna being our consciousness, Arjuna being the monkey mind. So he said that first consciousness let the monkey mind speak, so that all the thoughts in mind should come out, as Valentina was saying. First listen to yourself even. So Krishna permitted Arjuna to speak, and once all thoughts came out, then mind became peaceful. And then Jadranko-ji said, and then mind surrenders. Because if you oppose, whatever you resist will persist. So don't oppose, just listen, as Jadranko-ji said, and then once it surrenders, then meditate, and then only you can go beyond. That's amazing, Jadranko-ji. Thank you for adding in the discussion that way. So a quick tips from every guest from here. Whole world is listening. All 6 continents are listening to you. 3 tips from you, from your vast experiences, to all the audience. What to be done to be happy in life. 3 practical tips. First, Mimunji. 3 practical tips from you, which our audience can start doing from tomorrow onwards. In fact, today even. First.
The thing is to connect.
Connect
With the origin, with the manifest. The second, no appetite. The third, just repeat and repeat and repeat.
What is the second?
One month more. Not 2 times, many times.
What was the second point you said? I didn't listen. Second point. Can you come again for second?
First is to connect with the manifest, with God, with everything. The second, I forget now, but don't have desire. The things are the things that once we became, the truth is there. The light is there. Everything is there. Without connection, we have nothing. So we are connected because we are connected. If we are not connected, anyone we know each other. So the connection with the manifest is the number 1. And the second is in repeat. Everything you do it many times. Some other time, other thing will be done.
Thank you. Mimunji so beautifully said. First is connect to the source. Know yourself, connect to the source. Second, have no bounding desires. Fine, it is okay to have desires, but don't put your happiness dependent on that. That only if I get it, then only I'll be happy. To think is a nature of mind, but don't put your happiness on that. And third, he said, repeat, repeat, repeat. Practice is so much that it becomes your being. Valentina, you are 3 points of reflection for whole global audience. People are listening.
I'm going to give the audience only one that to me is what changed my mind and changed my life. And it's about being mindful. I invite everybody to start watching their thoughts. Wherever you are, you're in the traffic jam, you're in a meeting, and maybe it's boring, you're at the hairdresser, or you're just having a dinner party. Our mind just takes his own life. It has a life of its own. I would like you to now become the author of your thoughts. I would like you to watch your thoughts and realize how are they making you feel, because whatever that thought has creates an emotion, and then that emotion creates your reality. So please do watch your thoughts, and you always have an opportunity in every now moment to change your thoughts.
That's amazing. Valentina said, be the author of your life rather than only a reader. Be the doctor rather than only being a barometer or a thermometer. So be in charge, as she says that monkey mind. There is a possibility to be a monkey or a monk with key, and monk with the key, and key lies in being mindful. The moment you become mindful, from monkey you become a monk. Thank you, Valentina. Well, great. Annie G, your 3 tips for the people across the globe.
Io voglio solo dire e finire un attimo la faccenda dell'intelligenza e della felicità, perché è con l'intelligenza e con l'intelletto che noi riusciamo a eliminare l'intelletto. Se non, altrimenti non arriviamo. Cioè, diceva Mimun nel passato c'era l'ignoranza e poi è arrivata la conoscenza. Ma è appunto con l'intelletto che noi possiamo eliminare l'intelletto.
I just would like to point out just few things, as we said before, about the intellect. Just a point back, as we can remove and organize our intellect with the intellect. That's the only way.
Perfect. Thank you.
Oh.
And
and now I speak about this. I modi per ripristinare la felicità nella vita, mi pare, no?
Sì, diciamo tre consigli pratici che vorresti dare alle persone per conseguire la propria felicità.
Allora, prima di tutto bisogna lasciarsi fluire nella vita.
First of all, the first advice MEG would like to say is let it flow. Let's flow through life.
Per esempio, se io cado in un fiume impetuoso e contrasto questo fiume impetuoso, voglio uscire e perdo tutte le mie forze. Se arrivo vicino a riva non ho la forza per arrivare a riva. Invece se noi lascio fluire nel corso di un fiume, arrivo quasi vicino alla riva, ho la possibilità poi di approfittare di questa cosa e riuscire ad arrivare a salvarmi. Questo è un altro modo.
For instance, if we fell into a raging river, we are foolish if we start to keep on stand and fight against the power of the water. We will lose our strength. But in order to save our strength, we should let ourselves flow into the river until the vortex approach will let us reach the shore, and only then we can swim in order to reach the river, the shore.
E un altro modo è essere resilienti, cioè usare la resilienza. Per esempio, se c'è una grande tempesta, tu sei fare il giunco, non fare la quercia, perché la quercia viene spezzata, Il giunco si piega continuamente e poi quando finisce la tempesta si raddrizza di nuovo. Questa è la resilienza, questo è il modo migliore per riuscire a superare e arrivare poi alla felicità, ovviamente.
And another way is being resilient. A way to resilience, let us resist to the strong storm. For instance, if there is a storm, a small arbor, a small bush can flow with the wind. But while, for instance, a oak is very strong and can be broken by the strength of the wind. If instead we are flowing and we let ourselves to be soft in the midst of a storm, then we become resilient.
Quando tu bisticci con qualcuno, qualcuno si fa male, ma se tu riesci a cogliere e poi torni, anche quella persona, nessuno dei due si fa male.
For instance, when you are fighting with somebody, and then if you keep on fighting and one or the other person can get damaged, can get harmed. But if you do a step backwards, then you start to realize that you can discuss and none of the people will get harmed by the discussion.
Perfect. So thank you very much. Amiji added very important points. She said, row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 merrily. Life is but a dream. Just be with the flow, be flexible and connect with all. Use intellect to deal with the intellect itself. Jadrankoji, your 3 tips for the world.
Yes. So it is simple. Love, live, and forgive. These 3 things.
Beautiful, beautiful, and such a comprehensive thing that you said. So dear friends, let me just summarize the tips that are given to us by our honorable guests. So be happy in small things. Create micro moments of joy. And that is what we miss from our childhood. Second, make fun your priority. Have fun in everything and connect with people. Live in the moment. Past and future, remove that. Live in the moment. And you know that you are happiness. Just be rather than always trying to become something. Remain connected with the source. And most important is to go for a self-talk. If you have any traumatic experience, don't recreate that experience again and again without awareness. Yes, revisiting or reliving is reliving, but it happens when it happens with awareness. So talk about it. Start creating new memories. Don't judge yourself and don't judge others also. As Arjuna talked, once you talk, once you express yourself, then your mind calms down. Once you feel, people who don't feel heard, they feel heard. Once you are heard, you feel calm down and mind surrenders, and then go for meditation and go beyond these 3 gunas. And then you will realize your true nature. 3 tips is connect with your origin. Don't have bounding desires. It is fine if you desire its human nature, but don't make your happiness dependent on it, that only then I will be happy, and keep repeating these things again and again. Be with the flow. Be flexible. Use intellect to work with intellect. And it's very much important that we should be mindful of whatever we are doing. Watch your thoughts. Be the author of your life. Be the doctor rather than the thermometer or barometer, and love, live, and forgive. Thank you very much, respectable guests and audience, for watching us. Thank you very much. Namaste.
Yeah.
Thank you.